And we're back. We're back for another edition of ELEV8 Podcast. We have a special guest today, but before we get into any of that, let's go ahead and talk about how you guys can help us out and help yourself out. If you see any value, if you like it, we make you laugh, we make you think. If there's anything that you think that we added value to your life, like, subscribe, share. That's the only ticket that we're asking. We're not charging anything. We have 0 sponsors. So, like, subscribe, share. If we make you laugh, you learn something, we add any kind of value to you. Okay. Our special guest today, originally from Laredo, he went off to go do his thing, went off to college, that kind of thing. We'll be talking to him about exactly what he's been doing and how, it's kind of a funny story. We ended up at the same place. I was there way many more moons before he was, but we talked about that, and it's kind of funny. We were both on the same island at one point of our lives. We're going to go ahead and talk about his life, how he helps the youth and the elderly and the geriatric population here in Laredo through medicine. He has traveled quite a bit, got several different things he enjoys doing as far as hobbies, and pretty crazy kind of stuff that he was telling me earlier. But we're going to go ahead and get this started. Welcome, Dr. Armando Gonzalez.
How's it going, guys?
It's going good. It's going good.
Welcome, Doc.
Hey, appreciate
Welcome.
it. Hey, Lindsay.
Hi.
Thanks for showing up today, Doc. We really greatly appreciate this. We know your time's valuable, and thanks for being patient with us to get this all set up. So tell us, Doc. So tell us a little bit. So you were born and raised in Laredo, right?
Born and raised here. All my family.
Okay, all your family.
All my family's here. About 2 or 3 generations at least. So.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Doc. Let's start with your childhood. Like, what middle school, elementary school did you attend? Where did you go to high school? And then we'll get into your college path.
Yeah. So, pretty much grew up over in the Heights for a little bit. Went to Christ the King, if y'all remember that place.
Yeah.
Then I went over to United Day School for elementary, middle, up until high school. Best thing about being at United Day, not just fantastic education, but it was like the same group of friends from 4 years old all the way through 8th grade. So the same group of guys went to Alexander. Most of us were in like the magnet program there, and then we all kind of stayed together for college as well.
Okay, so college. Where did you go to?
So Texas A&M.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
I spent a semester at UT, semester at UTSA, and then wound up over at A&M.
So the Aggies. Yeah.
George doesn't like the Aggies. He has a nickname for him, but I can't say that on here.
Yeah, but, I mean, but then no worries, though.
Hey, we're contributing in many ways.
Yes, you are. Just wish
You
there
can
was.
find an Aggie everywhere.
Yeah, that's the scary part. Wait, Longhorn. But anyways, so we'll keep it rolling. Yeah. So you went to A&M. Where'd you go from there, Doc?
So from A&M, I wanted to get into medicine.
Okay.
So what ended up going on at that time, I didn't want to wait to get into medical school.
Okay.
So I ended up switching gears and went and looked international. Ended up applying to the Caribbean schools. Because I graduated in December and didn't want to wait until September.
Got you.
Or do a whole nother application cycle, and that would put me out of the game for about 1.5 years.
Got you.
So I applied to several different schools, got in literally to the one that's going to start the soonest. That was most important thing is that the school is accredited in all 50 states.
Nice.
Texas is one of the hardest states to get accreditation for.
Right.
So there's only at that time 4 schools that were accredited in Texas. It was Saba, St. George, Ross in Dominica, and then AUC in St. Martin. And then St. Martin was Out of all the islands.
Out of all the islands, you ended
There's
up
no
in
comparison.
Yeah, I hear you, Doc. I hear you. St. Martin, Lesser Antilles, huh?
Oh, the Lesser Antilles.
Yeah. Half Dutch, half French. So
Yeah, so
this is where the story goes funny. So probably 3 decades before you went to med school there, 2.5 decades before you went to school there, I lived there. I lived there for a year. That's the craziest part. That's when we started when we started talking about Kentucky Beach, Orient Beach, Mahu Beach, Simpson Bay.
I lived right there by Mullet, if you remember Mullet Beach.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I lived right in Mahu. The airport. Across the street from the airport is, you got 2 hotels. One is a Sonesta. I forgot what the name is. The one that crossed from, that's the one where I lived.
Okay.
I lived in a penthouse because it was cheaper to live in a penthouse with 4 dudes than to get your own place.
Gotcha.
So we had maid service. We had
Man, you roughed it out.
Paper towels, free everything.
Doc,
I
you
didn't have
roughed
to change
it
my
out.
sheets. There was literally housekeeping service every week.
Wow,
So it was
that's
it was
awesome.
awesome. As a student, that was like one of the small perks of living there.
Small perk.
That's
Living
a
on an
huge
island.
perk,
Yeah.
Doc.
Our balcony was bigger than our
Chefs.
living space.
Oh my
Overlooked the airport.
Oh, so speaking of the airport, okay. So for those of you who don't know where St. Martin is Lesser Antilles. It's pretty far from here. It's from Miami. It's about what? What did you say, Doc? About 3.5
3.5 hours.
Yeah,
it's
3.5 hour flight.
Terrible flight.
And so you've seen those pictures on the internet where there's people laying on the beach and the plane's like literally, 200 feet, 100 feet above them.
Yeah.
And it's coming into land. That's what we're talking about, St. Martin. It's not St. Martin, U.S. Virgin Islands. It's St. Martin's, STMARRTEN, St. Martin.
Correct.
So you have 2 ruling countries that the island is something crazy, like 37 square feet miles or something crazy. I don't know I don't even remember the exact, but it's cut in half. Half of the French government runs one side, the Dutch government runs the other half.
Yeah.
So it's 2 different countries in one little island. And it's really cool. So we've talked about these things. So I don't know. So I don't know exactly what year you were there, but I know when I left the island, I left because of the hurricanes. And my time was up. I was like, I'm out.
Yeah.
Like,
So I was only supposed to be there for about a year and a half. Stayed for about 2.
Terrible.
Yeah. I had to go study for my boards, and I figured, why change the scenery? I'm so used to it by now. So I studied for my board there, and I was like the only guy that stayed.
Even worse, the penthouse to yourself?
No, I had to get a small apartment at that point.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay,
I had to move out. I had to move on.
All right.
So I was there for about 2 years. It was awesome. Probably the best decision I've ever made. And then from there, we do our clinicals pretty much anywhere. You could go to England. Some people did that. I did Miami for a year. And then I did my surgery rotation in Washington, D.C. for a few months.
Okay.
And then I was in Long Island for about 6 months or so for my 4th year.
Okay, that's awesome. And then where did you go from there, Doc? How did you end up in Pittsburgh?
Well,
Or
so I started in Pennsylvania. So I
Okay,
started in Reading, Pennsylvania, where I did my family medicine residency. Reading is about an hour west of Philly.
Okay.
Kind of in Amish country. So if you know where, it's like kind of where Allentown is. You go a little bit south, and then you hit Reading, and then a little bit south of that is Lancaster, and then below that is like Maryland, like DC, and that whole area.
Okay.
So I was there for 3 years. Did my family medicine residency, and then moved to Pittsburgh for my sports medicine fellowship.
Wow. So that's where it gets interesting.
Yeah.
Sports medicine in Pittsburgh.
It was cool. It was cool.
No, I know it is cool. I know it's very cool. We've had these conversations. So tell us about, what teams? Was it the Steelers? Was it the Sixers, the Penguins, Pirates?
So
who did you...
My main team was the University of Pittsburgh.
Okay.
So I was with the football team.
Okay.
So I was there every day in the morning, in the training room, especially during football season. They would practice in the morning, so I'd see the players before. Dependent on what was going on with my schedule, I'd either go to clinic and then go back. It was very dependent. But if somebody needed to get seen, I would have to go from my clinic straight to the football training room to evaluate the player.
Wow. So that was awesome, wasn't it?
Yeah, very good experience. Very unique experience. But then we also got I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
We also worked with some of the other schools. So I know the other 2 fellows were with Carnegie Mellon, and the other one is St. Vincent, which is a small college outside of Pittsburgh.
Right.
I also worked with Robert Morris University, which is another college. I don't know. They have a good basketball team. I don't know if they're D1, but
Right.
they might be D1, D2.
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure they're D1. So there was a good 4 or 5 colleges that we were working with.
Wow, that's awesome. That's awesome. So, it's my understanding while you were there, you had some interaction or dealings with some Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah.
Huh? How was that? How was that?
was cool.
That was cool?
It was cool.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I lived in the same apartment complex as Juju.
Oh, wow.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was his sophomore year. So it was right after the whole bike thing where he got his bike stolen, and that became a whole thing. Because where we lived, that's why I chose the place, is literally 3 blocks from the Pittsburgh Steelers Center. It was like from the clinic that I was going to work at, there is also the football training center. So the football training center was the Steelers and University of Pittsburgh. So for me, it made sense to live there since I'd be spending most of my time there. And that's where Juju was as well. So he'd be walking he would get out of practice, be walking his dog Bougie, and our dogs would just meet and play. And there's a video of my dog and his dog on one of their Instagrams, Bougie's or his.
That's awesome, dude.
Yeah,
That's awesome. That's
then
a
he
great
invited
story.
me to Bougie's birthday party.
Wow.
Yeah, Bougie had a birthday party sponsored by Pizza Hut.
Did you go?
Wow.
Yeah, of
Oh,
course.
okay,
Yeah.
good.
It was like,
What was
course.
that
yeah,
like?
of course I went. Of course I went. It's taking my dog to a
That
birthday
dog's
party.
birthday is probably nicer than all of ours.
Yeah, no, it was awesome. So it was
Yeah.
like sponsored by Pizza Hut. So they had like all these like personalized treats, a little gift bag
The
for my
dog's
dog.
birthday party
dog's birthday
was
party.
sponsored by Pizza
Yeah,
Hut.
yeah. Because at that time, Juju was sponsored by Pizza Hut.
Oh, okay.
Got
So
you.
he was able to work something out, and I met when I walked in, I met his mom, such a nice lady. Everyone there was super nice. His roommate, who was also trying, I think he was also trying to do something in football.
Okay.
Very nice guy. Got nothing bad to say.
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's a great experience,
Yeah,
huh?
very good experience. Very nice guy, and like when we took our dogs to him, he said, I remember this. I was like, wow, this is a lot of maturity for. What was he, like 20 at the
Yeah,
time?
yeah, he was
Must have been
young. He was young.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he went to league very young, so I don't think he was 21. But he was like, hey, I just want to thank y'all for being here. Because if it wasn't for y'all's dogs and my dogs, you guys wouldn't have been brought into my life. Something like that. As long as I was like, wow, that was so nice. Like,
Yeah.
I really appreciate that.
That's the dog's part of the family, right,
Yeah.
Lindsay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm obsessed with my dogs, so I'm all right. So I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you were in Pittsburgh. I see you repping that Pitt hat, but we won't talk about that.
Well, I got so much gear from them. It's really good quality gear that I still wear it.
Hey, they're Pittsburgh Steelers quarterbacks.
Yeah,
from-
so I was there when Kenny Pickett was a redshirt sophomore.
Really?
His first year. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
And then it was really cool just seeing him progress from that year, which was year 1 for him, to year 4.
Wow, that's
and then seeing some of the other guys that were there also get into the league, and it was really cool.
wow. That's impressive.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, because he's probably going to be the starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers
Yeah.
this year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's awesome. Wow, that's crazy. So you worked there. Then what happened? Where did you go from there?
So from there, I knew I wanted to come back home.
Okay.
So it was just a matter of time.
Right.
Finished up my year and came back to Laredo.
Okay.
Started up in the clinic.
Okay.
And just been trying to grind it out since then.
Okay.
Just really trying to build it and work on my craft.
Okay, I got you. So there, where you're working there at your clinic, what are the injuries? What are the what are you treating the most? What type of injuries are you treating the most that you see? Like, let's just take for the example, middle school, elementary school.
So originally, because remember, I started practice about a month before COVID.
Okay.
So COVID hit, and I was just in this weird, lull where I was seeing a patient here, a patient there.
Right.
But then once people started getting out more, I started getting these kids that would have these odd pains. And this went on for a few months. And this is like the majority of what I saw. Because remember, there was no sports at the time, too.
Right.
There were a lot of hold my beer accidents, like kids on doing stupid things, like so many stupid things.
Is that how you write it down when you write
I
your
call them
notes?
hold my beer moments, even though they're not legally allowed to drink.
Yeah.
But it's one of those stupid acts that they do. Like, why are you on the roof? That broke. What are you doing? You should not be on the roof.
That's crazy.
No, so I saw a lot of kids who had these very vague, like back pains, shoulder pains, and you talk to them. And it took me a while. I was like, okay, well, just give you some therapy and get back to what you're doing. Then I started asking them, like, what do you do during your whole day? Wake up, turn the computer on, and get back into bed. So a lot of kids, like, literally went through this sedentary, like, period of their life. Or I think a lot of them just decompensated and developed bad habits, and that's where a lot of the ailments started to come. There wasn't anything structurally wrong with them. It was just more deconditioning. And, if you lay in bed 12 hours a day watching Netflix, something's going to start hurting.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that is crazy.
Yeah.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
So then...
But then that transitioned into, people were still falling. People, arthritis didn't stop.
Right.
So then that's how my practice really transitioned into more, I won't call them, I won't say geriatric, but I would say the majority is anyone from 40-year-old on.
Thanks, Doc.
So middle age.
No. You're like 70 and all, Armando.
I'm 36. Well, 35, about to be 36.
Man, you're young, Doc. You're young.
So I would say 40-year-olds on.
Okay.
That's where now I'm kind of in that mix of about 50 to 70. I think that's the average age of my patient.
Okay. So then, how about high school? From the high school population, athletic population.
So
what are the main injuries that you're treating?
So
today,
outside of like your acute stuff, right?
Right.
Broken bones, sprains, all that stuff's gonna happen.
Right.
Regardless, but probably the most would be chronic issues.
Wow.
A lot of like overuse, a lot of overuse injuries. You have a lot of these baseball players that are on 3 different leagues, no pitch counts. Or if there is a pitch count, there's only a pitch count for that one team, but it gets reset when they play the next day with that other team, and they go out and pitch whatever it is that they pitched the day before, and
that's crazy.
Yeah,
So
just pop like half a bottle of Advils,
Yeah.
throw on some ibuprofen or some icy
Motrin.
hot. You're
and the
good.
same could be said for like volleyball, baseball. Tennis is now gaining a lot of steam, but a lot more overuse injuries in the tennis nuts is what I call them. Like people who play
every day.
3
Every
hours.
day.
And there's people that do that 3 hours a day, and then that's awesome that they're out there, but I'm seeing a lot of overuse from that.
Wow.
So you're seeing,
Interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
yeah, because we do have
Yeah.
quite a few tennis
And I
players
feel
here.
that's picking up a lot of steam. Like in
Yeah.
the last year to 2 years, I think it's exploded here in Laredo.
Okay, so let's talk about this. So the tennis players are susceptible to the same thing as Tommy John. Is that not correct? I mean,
Well-
is that the shoulder, labrums?
So so they're
UCLs?
So UCL is more a lot of it from what we call valgus stress, where you put in stress on the medial joint, and you're really just putting on what we call valgus stress. So that medial joint line, you're just stressing it outward.
Okay.
With Tommy John, obviously you could have like the acute tear, like the throw, and it just pops, right?
Right.
A lot of times it's just repetitive. Same with the shoulder, and this is a guy that I studied under, was Dr. James Bradley. He was big on posterior shoulder instability, where as you're pitching, that humeral head, you have the cartilage just always just kind of grinding away at it until it tears. And that's just from that external rotation that pitchers are getting every time. And then obviously with the pitch counts, and it just happens when you're doing these repetitive activities. No matter if you try to take care of it or not, it's most likely will happen.
Yeah, that's terrible. I think Lindsay and I have a story here about one of the kids that we had here. They rode this one. How old was he? 8, 9, 10 years old. Lindsay, you remember how old he was?
Yeah, he was 8.
8.
When he came in.
Yeah, so they rode him to the World Series. This little lefty.
Yeah.
And they brought him in, and Lindsay's like, "Will you take him?" Yeah. And I was like, "I'll take him, but they got to sit him down for a year."
Oh,
so
yeah.
they sat him down for a year, and to the date, to the hour of 1 year, they called Lindsay and said, "Is it okay for him to start pitching again?"
Oh, wow.
Like,
8 years old.
so now the kid's 9, and it's to the year that I told him he had to.
And they're just sitting.
They're waiting.
They're waiting.
So what happens? He goes, and I say, "Okay, yeah, but let's start him soft. 1 inning, 12 pitches. 2 innings, 20 pitches.
Correct.
3 innings, 30 pitches.
Yeah.
Start him slow. Let's start with 1 inning."
Yeah.
Let him get back into the rhythm. Let his arm get in shape. Well, they try to ride him to the World Series again.
Oof.
So he comes back
Same
hurt again.
thing.
Yeah. So Lindsay's like, hey, George, hey, he's back again. I said, well, no, we're not going to.
Yeah.
No, they didn't listen. We're not going to take it.
Which is a very interesting topic is parents not investing in development and investing in
Like the actual leagues
like
itself.
leagues
Yeah.
and overusage
And I've
and all
gotten
of
that all
that.
the time. Like, do you think, like, hey, this kid comes in, well, just an example, like, say a kid comes in for, like, a shoulder issue. He's got a torn labrum or he's got something going on in his shoulder. And they're like, all right, well, do you think he can make it through the summer because we paid X amount for the showcases that they're putting him through?
Which a showcase at the age of 8, 9,
Yeah,
10.
and these are,
What are they showcasing?
exactly. Yeah.
So exactly. So Doc, this is one of the things I say. Okay, I'm obviously we're all on the same page.
Yeah.
Invest in development, right?
Absolutely.
Right. Work around the growth plates, right?
But also, like, if they're also a baseball player, put them in, I don't know, tennis, basketball, track, everything. Put them in everything. Put them in everything.
Yeah.
At that age,
At
right?
that age, at that
Yeah.
age, and then specialize. And there's a lot of research on this is of single sport specialization and that high risk of injury rates. So just put them in everything.
Yeah.
That's why, like, Dr. Andrews, the baseball guru, came out with those pitch counts and all that. Like, there's a reason why the Youth Baseball Society, whoever they are, whatever, put out those guidelines to be followed to a T, is to avoid all these developmental issues, which will then come up if they're just playing.
I have a question. What age do you think, you guys, I mean, it's opinion, but what age do you think should they start specializing?
Ooh, that's
And-
you see, because that's tough because you have, like, you see some kids here that look like they're 19, 20, but they're like 14.
Yeah.
You know? So
They got a full beard.
like
Yeah.
they're full beard.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
They're like power lift. Or they're like, I don't know. They're lifting. They're throwing weight and
Yeah.
throwing weight
Yeah.
beautifully with good.
Do you
with-
think it has to do with their growth plates or just their
that's part of it.
maturity?
I think a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
So between the growth plates and maturity, and also type of sport. You know, is there a
Mm-hmm.
season to the sport, or are they doing something like boxing, which is no season? It's year round. Like, are they giving themselves an off season, an on season? There's a lot of factors that go into this.
Because I have a problem, a reoccurring problem is overusage.
Yeah.
And trying to tell the parents that their kid needs an off season.
Yeah.
And they don't listen.
No.
And in high school now, like back when we were growing up, you could play 3 sports in high school
Yeah.
and be fine because you only practice an hour and a half, 2 hours a day after school.
Correct.
Now they require the kid, it's about average 4 hours a day in season, off season.
Yeah.
In season and off season.
Yeah.
Right
That's-
now they're doing 5 hours a day over the summer,
That's nuts.
every day.
That's how. So my
Same
niece,
sport.
Yeah, my niece. That's how my niece was in gymnastics.
how-
4 hours a
I
day.
mean, how are they supposed to play multiple sports or do their injury prevention or,
Yeah.
TLC on the outside when
Yeah.
it's
And that was me as an athlete. That was my issue. I was boxing, kickboxing, karate. Every day for 3-4 hours was training, and I have so many injuries at that time, but also still lingering. Like, I'm like, all right, I know
Yeah.
this is coming back from
they
that injury
they
15
say
years
pain
ago.
is temporary, but it's
Nah,
not.
Yeah.
You're gonna feel that the
yeah.
rest of your
If
life.
something moves and it stays moved,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gonna keep hurting.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
actually, it's funny you say that because Danny's going to be doing our mobility class this summer. And
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, so
I think that's very underlooked aspect of.
oh yeah,
Yeah,
we're going to do it
definitely.
Monday through Thursday nights.
Yeah.
So we are, the joke is, what is that? Motion is lotion.
Motion. Yeah, a
Oh, no,
body
the-
in motion stays in motion.
There you go.
That's why.
There you
go.
Yeah, my dad's 75. I don't want him to stop working because once he stops, it's
Yeah.
Downhill from
it
there.
stops. Yeah, you
So-
gotta keep working.
Yeah.
So Doc, I
I got my mom on a training program
Oh, yeah. And see, my mom now.
every day.
Yeah, my mom, bless her heart, for the last like 5 years, she's been going to. She's got a trainer, and she goes 2 to 3 times a week. And she's like, I'm doing this so I don't have to take therapy in the future.
That's
And
awesome.
she's
That's
70,
awesome.
yeah, 73
Yeah.
and
So-
lifting
She
weights.
understands it.
Yeah.
So talking about
That's cool.
longevity, one of the things, listening to Dr. Attia, Peter
Yeah.
Attia, listening to him, one of the things that you need, what is the number? We do it backwards. We're all backwards. We lift heavy while we're young. Then when we get old, we just get away from it. instead of, what's the number one cause of geriatric patients? Their mortality is going to be, they're going to fall, break a hip, and 6 to 9 months, they die.
Yeah.
Right? So we need to keep those hips. So what's the number one exercise they all need to be doing? A trap bar deadlift. Trap bar deadlift. But they don't do it. They don't do it because they think doing the elliptical,
Well, a lot of them don't move, period. Majority of them don't move.
Hey, we're in Laredo, Texas, and it's super hot here, but that mall's open.
And I
if,
think
if they can drive. I have so many patients that are homebound, unable to drive, and to them.
So Doc, how did they get to you, to your visit?
They usually have to have a family member drive them.
They can,
and then that family member has to take off of work, and it becomes a thing.
Well, the mall closes at 8. I mean, if there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
Okay, and that's kind of my thing. Let me go back a little bit. We were talking about. I've always say this to baseball players. Okay, and it's simple. If you're not throwing 90, you're not hitting 10 bombs in season. If you're not running a 6.4 60, you're not stealing 20 plus bases. What are you doing at a showcase?
Mm-hmm.
And they all kind of look at me like, no, yeah. I mean, I'm telling them for their own good.
Yeah.
Because I had Tommy John, and I had it with Dr. Andrews 6 months after him and Dr. Frank Jobe discovered this surgery. Yeah. So I went to Birmingham, and I had it. He cut me up, and I did all the rehab.
The first name was going to be Tommy George, but somebody went in before him named John, so they just went with Tommy John. He was the second patient.
Yeah. I was
almost got the first one, man.
Yeah,
that was almost Tommy George.
Yeah, that was crazy. But so obviously they perfected it all and everything. So they fixed all of that, right? On the protocol and the rehab and all that. They got major leaguers back on the hump, BP kind of stuff, 6 months, 9 months out.
Yeah, but now they're doing that internal brace, and they're getting pretty quick recovery from that.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So I've heard. Now I don't know what doctor it is. Somebody said it was the doctor from the Texas Rangers, or it could be the Astros or Seattle. One of them 3 teams. They're using some type of carbon fiber. I mean,
that part I'm not too sure about.
Yeah, that's crazy. You would think that the body would have to accept it, right? I mean, that's.
They would have to.
Yeah,
if they're doing it, they would have to. But see, I'm non-surgical, so I do some surgeries, but I'm not a rotator repair guy, labrum. I don't do any major surgeries.
I got you. So I agree. I mean, these kids here in Laredo, you said it. They're working 3 teams. One in Laredo, one in Corpus, one in San Antonio.
Yeah.
What are they showcasing, Doc? I mean, what are they doing? They're just hurting themselves.
A lot of times.
Yeah.
A lot of times.
Yeah. And you're seeing a lot of that, right?
I'm sure if you're an outfielder, you could probably get away with it.
Sure.
But if you're a pitcher,
you're not.
You can't. Even catcher. It's probably tough on a catcher as well.
Oh, for sure. On the knees.
You're also throwing every ball back, so you're just throwing.
Well, and the other thing too, Doc, what I don't like, so when you're a catcher, you're going to short arm the ball. When you're a pitcher, you want elongation.
Yeah.
You want, So they will pitch them. I've always said to pitch them first, catch them second. But they always want to catch them first and pitch them.
Yeah.
And you're going from here, from the ear to this, So now the UCL.
That's where,
you're going to, I feel like that's part of a problem. We don't have any of those cases right now, like where that's happening.
Yeah, and I don't see it too often.
Okay.
I've seen it maybe like once in my 3 years here, but I saw a lot more up in Pittsburgh.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting, Doc. So this is a problem. This is a problem. These kids just play and play
too much. Well, they play the same thing too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so then what's the benefit in playing different sports?
Just you're resting one part of the body, activating another part of the body, developing the other part of the body that's not getting used while you're playing baseball or volleyball.
Tennis.
So it'd be like the difference. Yeah, it'd be like, say you play baseball one season and swim the other season. You're talking about 2 totally separate groups of muscles that are being activated and developed during that season.
Wow.
It also helps with young athletes' coordination, overall
Balance.
athletic ability, balance, being put in different scenarios that they're not used to.
Yeah.
Mental.
Yeah, I think it's huge.
Yeah, it's
Especially if
a
you go
lot
from
of
being the alpha
benefits.
in one sport than just getting
Yeah.
last
They
place.
You
suck.
got to learn
Yeah.
how to deal with adversity.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Oh, adversity.
Yes, there is a lot of
But that's a
benefits,
hard one too,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
as soon as parents see their kid having to deal with that adversity, they
Yeah, they-
swoop them out.
Yeah, they'll take them
The-
out, or
yeah.
they'll press the gas and say, "All right, we're gonna put you in X, Y, and Z lessons," and now that they start overworking that
Over
aspect.
to get him. Yeah.
Overcompensating
True.
for that sport.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. That's a good point.
So yeah, so they really need to work on the development and invest in development and really it's something. And I'm not saying just elevate. I mean, we're obviously the most qualified here, you know, to do that. But you have to put the money in development. You have to.
You have to.
That's
Yeah.
why these schools in Austin and San Antonio, when these kids go play over there, they're like, well, let's take baseball, for instance. You're not carrying the guy.
Yeah.
You're just throwing the ball.
Yeah.
You know? But those guys throw harder than we do. Why?
Yeah.
Because they start developing in 6th grade. Here, Lindsay and I always talk about this. It's like, George, why do they always bring them to you their senior year in the fall?
Yeah.
Like, oh, now I need to throw 90. The kid's
Well,
throwing
and it-
82.
Yeah, and a lot of it too is like, oh, Susie's doing this, so Mary needs to do this
Yeah.
too. You
Or,
know?
yeah.
And then we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do more of it,
Yeah.
versus like doing research
And doing.
and sitting down and doing homework on what are athletes doing outside of Laredo, Texas,
Yeah.
to get better
or
and to
even
be
sport,
healthy.
Yeah, or even
and
sport specific. Like,
yeah.
what are they doing to increase their throwing velocity?
it's like
or,
a
or even like injury prevention.
yeah. So we see it like one baseball player will come in, and all of a sudden, the whole team's here. Because
Yeah, 'cause they heard it.
it's like, which is great. Like we
Yeah.
love helping them, but like it's too bad that they couldn't do their own research
Yeah.
and figure out what on their own, like what's gonna help me, like focus on my goals.
Yeah.
Well, it's ironic because people don't want to do the research or invest and pay the price that it takes to develop their kids.
Oh yeah.
But then, that price is much less than what it costs to get a surgery or go get therapy.
Yeah.
So it's ironic. Like, you don't want to put this much money down to prevent those things happening on in the future, but eventually you're going to go to the doctor's office and be like, now I got to drop 5 times more than what I would have paid originally.
Yeah. It's also the kids have more fun playing baseball than they do lifting weights and training and
Yeah.
putting in the hard work.
Yeah,
Like, it's much more fun to play
yeah,
as opposed to drill and try to improve that skill set.
right. Yeah, and that's what we see, is why we don't do like big group settings and try to get masses in here, is because we want kids that they understand the process, they love the process, and they wanna go farther with
Yeah.
it. They're thinking long term
Yeah.
versus now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of our market
Yeah.
here, is those kids that
Yeah.
they're a little more specially wired, thinking more future, and they love
Yeah. And they probably also just
the weight room.
yeah, also online research. I'm sure they're watching YouTubes and Instagrams on how to get better, and they're seeing what other athletes are doing behind the scenes, and they're just taking that with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the worst thing you can do, Doc. You see Aaron Judge doing exercises.
Yeah.
That's Aaron Judge.
Yeah.
Okay? Like, that's a man among men. You're not going to do what the man does.
But
you
they're
gotta
also
do.
trying to get to his position.
Yeah, but they.
Yeah,
the
but like I
his-
have like 9-year-olds where their parents will send me these like
Videos of Aaron
videos
Judge.
of like, well, yeah, someone like that doing these exercises that I'm like, first of all, your kid needs to learn how to hinge,
Yeah.
like and squat and
Yeah.
do a push up, and then and that's like, we're talking down the road.
Yeah.
Like there's certain tasks that they have to perform properly to get to that exercise, but they see it on YouTube and they're like, this is
Oh,
what my kid needs to do.
Yeah, and it looks easy. He's making it look easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
he's
a lot-
squatting 300 pounds. It makes it. It should be easy. It should be no problem.
There's a development to
phase
get to that.
Yeah. You know, and then
But
when
it's cool that they understand, at least, like they need to be doing something.
yeah.
Like you said, like they see it
And
and,
then
they're
the-
like, okay, there's extra work that
yeah.
needs to be
it's
done.
not just going out and having fun.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, there's a phase, and like Lindsay said earlier, it's the process. You got to enjoy the process to
Yeah.
get there. You know, and that's what it is. It's you're going through that process, and it's going to take time. It's going to take
Everything,
years. Aaron
everything.
Judge, Tani, all these guys in the show, I mean,
He started off goblet squatting 10 pounds.
exactly. Arnold,
Yeah.
you know,
Some
he was
point in
benching
his life,
135.
yeah.
He's,
Yeah.
I mean,
They
everybody
all
starts
started.
somewhere,
They all
and
started.
and that's the other thing. They're afraid to get into the weights. You know, the game has changed since I played.
Yeah.
It's totally changed.
Well, like when I grew up boxing, kickboxing, karate, my dad's like, you don't want to lift weights. You don't want to get too stiff. So I would never lift weights.
Yeah, there you
But
go.
then, like, that's like the most important thing to me now. Like,
Yeah.
you've got to.
That's the elasticity in your muscle
Exactly,
now. Yeah,
exactly. I
it's just
need
the
it.
reverse of what we used to think.
Yeah.
You know.
So
It-
like weights were like, you probably even still kind of looked down upon in boxing, but it's slowly making its way. Like, all right, no, this stuff is needed in combat sports.
Yeah, I think it's what's his name? He's out in Florida. I think it's Phil DeRue. He's
Oh, Phil, yeah, he's good.
probably
Really
the
awesome.
best MMA combat sports trainer.
Yeah.
If
He's doing, like,
not in the world,
probably the world.
definitely the nation, but I would say the world.
Yeah.
The dude's savage.
Yeah.
He knows exactly what he's doing with those athletes,
Mm-hmm.
and he does a phenomenal job with those pro athletes. I mean, he's really, really good. Hands down, 5 stars for him.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, you're gonna, Dustin Poirier. I mean, he trains him.
Yeah.
Well, not only muscle like strength and
Yeah, it's also
mobility,
like
but
the-
also bone health.
Yeah, bone. So that's my big thing, especially with my like the older population that I take care of. Like their bone health is so poor. You'll take an X-ray, and it's just like osteoporotic wrist. Like, you can just see the decreased bone density in all the X-rays, and that's 90% of the people I see.
Doc, but what's causing that here? But I mean, is
Everything
it
from diet to inactivity.
inactivity?
Yeah. And that's where the resistance training comes into play. And if they're able to have some type of foundation or support system that allowed them to do it, I'm sure that they would, but they just don't know where to go.
Mm-hmm.
And the most that we can do sometimes with them being homebound is like a home physical therapist
Mm-hmm.
that goes and runs them through some exercises, but it's without machines. They might have some weights, but it's not like machines, it's bands, it's like kind of like range of motion
Yeah,
exercises.
and I think too, like that we're talking like people who grew up a long time ago, and
Yeah.
and they didn't grow up with that lifestyle.
Correct.
And now we're learning more, and so hopefully when we're that age, we'll still
we
continue
have
to
to.
be
Yeah, we
active
have
because we
to.
know it works.
Yeah, so my goal is to try to bridge what we know now with those people who don't have access
And
to
that's
it.
hard
It's so
because some
hard.
of them are probably pretty stubborn.
Stubborn.
They
Well,
probably
yeah,
don't
but
wanna,
yeah, like stubborn, but
you
also
know.
just like in terms of the resources, they don't have enough resources just to get to a gym,
Yeah.
wherever, or they might live out in like, I don't know, not Zapata, but one of those little small towns by
Right.
Zapata, like that just
Yeah.
they can't
Right.
get in.
Yeah.
And there's
Yeah.
nothing around them. So like the closest area would probably be Zapata, but they can't even
Yeah.
get there.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. That's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
What do you think about in-season training? Because I know a lot of the people that come here, especially the baseball guys that I know, season starts, and in the off season they're in here every day, maybe even twice a day.
Well, I
Then
think-
season starts and they
Well,
disappear.
Well, I'm sure George could also comment better on it, but you don't want to lose. Like, I guess you're looking more for maintenance at that point, as opposed to growing muscle or hypertrophy.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because if you don't lift for 3-4 months out of a season, you're gonna lose that elasticity. You're also, I'm really big on like the neurological adaptation. So if even just doing the reps without weight, just
Yeah.
to keep that
Uh-huh.
motion, or if you had trouble, like say you just started like bench pressing or deadlifting, try to repeat it the next day, but just add a light weight just to get those nerves firing and adapt to that certain movement. But if you forget, then
Yeah.
if you
Yeah,
don't use it, you lose it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Consistency
For
is
real.
key.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's huge that you say that, because we had a pitcher in here. He came to me throwing 82. Right now, I told him, you need to come in. You need, even during season, you need to come in.
Yeah.
So he was 82, 83. His senior year, he ended up 92, 93. But he came every day.
Yeah.
Every day. He came.
That's what it takes.
He came, and it's a different. Your in-season training is just like Danny said. It's in season, so it's totally different.
Totally different.
Totally
You're
different.
not trying to. You're not trying to gain weight or hypertrophy. Just
No,
maintain.
Maintain.
I also think that's a good point for all of our athletes watching that we don't see in the in season, that your program does change in season. Because I feel that sometimes like the younger ones think that they're going to come in and get the same program in
Yeah.
season. So that's why they don't come
Yeah.
in, because
Or-
they don't want to be sore and like tired and all that.
Yeah.
But they don't understand that your in season is totally different than your off season programming.
Mhm.
So hopefully some of them are listening
just
to
do
this
it.
conversation.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just do it, kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Just
have
show
to
up.
come in.
Just show up.
D-
Show up, do the weights, get out.
Doc,
Yeah.
it's
Easy.
yeah, you know, off season. Yeah, we're
easy.
gonna
Too
pump.
easy.
Mm-hmm.
Recipes there.
It's so easy.
Sir.
It's hard.
The hardest part showing up.
That's right.
But then once you get going, once you get lubricated with the movements, you're good to go.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not like we're gonna be deadlifting for 05. And so yeah, I'm sure
Yeah,
why
like-
Danny's saying that, because Danny was here when it was just him, myself,
Yeah.
and a couple other clients, and then Lindsay had a couple of clients, and that's it.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
like less than 10 of us in here.
Yeah.
But we're all about quality versus quantity
Yeah.
anyways. So it worked, and then all of a sudden, like from one day to the next, you had 20 changos in here from
Yeah.
baseball.
Yeah.
You're just like, what?
Where you guys been all
Yeah.
year? Yeah.
Yeah. And no, and then I mean, I always make fun of them. You guys ain't. You guys stop smoking that pipe, because golly, they come back looking like they lived under a bridge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I'm just like, guys, like, what are y'all doing? Especially the college guys. They're like, are you guys not eating? I mean, what's going? But it's the
Well-
stress of it all.
All. Especially like college kids, it's like a second job. So they have school, job one, athletics, job two. So you're working 80-hour weeks.
Mhm.
And people think, oh, it's just a free education for these kids. No, far
Oh.
from it.
Bingo. I'm glad you said
they're
that.
putting in hard work.
I'm glad you said that, because everybody wants that scholarship. So you got to get up in the weight room till 5 to 7, go to class from 8 to
How about your
12.
treatments? You got to show up at 5 a.m. because the trainer's already there waiting for you.
Some of
And
these
they're not-
athletes
and they
are
won't show
dual
up.
sport athletes.
Yeah. It's tough.
So, Doc, tell us about that. How was it at Pitt? Like working with those guys, like
It was
5
awesome.
o'clock in the morning?
Yeah,
So
they're-
was
yeah,
that,
so-
is that was that kind of the day in life? Kind of like
So
5?
I would get there at about 7, like 6:45,
Okay.
7, 6:30, some around that. Like I
Okay.
would kind of know the day before, or they would text me like, "Hey, we've got someone coming in at this time. Can you be in at
X time.
X time?" But I was usually there at 6:45, 7.
Okay.
See the people I need to see, and then they were off to their meetings, breakfast, and then practice. And then at lunch, they would have their lunch and then go off to school, come back, and they would have all their probably afternoon activities that they would do, whether it be lifting or session, film, a lot of film, yeah.
Wow.
So you got to see, like, well, it's cool for mine is as someone who knew nothing about football and operations, you got to see the operational standpoint, how you have the guy running the practice, and that one guy running the practice is literally going by almost like a time schedule. At minute 8 and 30 seconds, we're switching to X, Y, and Z drills, and then special teams going here, and like literally it's going down to a science as to what these kids are doing on a daily basis, and you have so many moving parts.
Wow. Yeah, it's you see it on Saturday, Saturday afternoons. You see, Alabama, the Clemsons, and them getting crushed. Let's talk about
Last
that.
year.
Yeah, so that was
That's
last
cool.
year. Yeah. Yeah, that's why they're going
Believe
back to
in
Big
Jimbo.
12. Yeah, they're going back to Big 12. Yeah. Yeah. I wonder why. Oh, Oklahoma and Texas are going SEC. So, yeah. Let's go back to Big 12. Yeah. Anyways, let's
Let it go, man.
know,
Let it
it's
go.
like-
It's like anybody who walks in here with an A&M shirt, like, got to go back out and change. 'Cause
Yeah.
No reason for the hate.
No reason
There's
for
no
the hate.
reason.
There's no hate. There's no hate. There's no hate for the Aggie fans. There's no hate at all. Just, everybody's going to have their season, right? Up and downs. So anyways, we were talking about, the geriatric population and how all of that, the hip, they fall. They can't get to where they need to be, Is, in your opinion, here in Laredo, is there adequate transportation for them? In your opinion? Because I'll give
Well-
you my opinion. I don't think there is.
Like public transportation here
Right,
in Laredo is
right.
kind of terrible.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
Thank you. Okay.
But but it's there. But
It's tough.
120 degree. Like sometimes we're getting up to 110, 115, and maybe they've got to be traveling for 2 hours in the bus, and then how about their meals? How about they have to take insulin?
Okay.
You know,
Medication. Yeah.
So I that part will definitely
And
complicate
there's no
things.
companies out there that transport.
Like there are, like some people
It's
come
not
by ambulance. Like
enough.
some people come by ambulance. Some
Yeah.
a lot of them come by their families. There's a
Like an Uber for like
not
medical
that
care.
I'm sure there is, but I'm not too aware of it.
That'd be a cool
Yeah, it's a little side gig.
little
Yeah.
startup.
Little startup. Yeah.
But they do have like like the little palomitas, like the people that take care of them.
Oh,
I'm not
okay.
too sure if they're the ones transporting these people, or I'm not too sure what
Right.
what it is between the home health,
Yeah.
the patient, and the transportation. I don't know.
Got you. Doc, what's your opinion about supplementation? Like, let's say creatine, BCAAs, ECAAs, you know, protein, which, you know, the
Well,
whey
yeah, well, I
proteins
don't
and all
doubt-
that,
yeah.
all that stuff. What do you think about all that?
So
What's your
like
opinion?
everybody's diet has super personalized. Like you got to find out what works for you.
Okay.
Like for me, I've come to learn I need high carbs, high protein, and mostly protein in order to say like satiated.
Okay.
When it comes down to supplements, I really don't really care about them.
Okay.
I want everything natural from my diet, so I'd rather, like whey protein, I'm okay with, because whey protein is essentially like drinking like a giant glass of milk, right?
Right.
So I'm okay with it. You get a quick thing of protein, you're good to go. But the creatines and all that, to me, find a way to get that through your natural diet.
Okay.
But some people swear by it. But again, if you've been taking it for 15 years and you swear by it, I'm sure you're getting off of it, your body will go through an adjustment period. So you have to find what works for you and what your goals are and where you want to go to from there. But I don't think it's the end all be all of everything.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
But talk to a nutritionist.
Yeah, we got one.
We got one.
Hey,
yeah.
hey, we actually we
Kidding.
got
I'm just
one.
a doctor.
Yeah, we've got one in the works here. She's, you know, I think I mentioned to you, you know,
Yeah,
she's
Abby.
Abby.
Yeah.
She's working on her. She's gonna go on and I mean, she's running track right now, but she's gonna go grab her PhD.
Yeah, I think
in
that's one big
dietetics.
one big thing missing out of like medical education is nutrition. Like we do learn some nutrition, like the
Right.
basics of it, but not like what'll help you be optimized. Like what kind of diet would benefit you the most?
Well,
Like what's your optimization in terms of
Why do you think they'd miss that? Is it intentional or it's just there's too much and
probably
they
like,
just don't?
probably like too much, you know? And that's why we have nutritionists, you know,
Yeah.
try to have us focus on the medicine, the components of medicine and the subspecialization of medicine. And then when it comes down to like the nutrition aspect, that's their own special field.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
So we don't wear too many hats.
And like
Jack of all
with
trades,
Abby,
master of
like
none.
getting a PhD in nutrition, like that's
Dietetics.
awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dietetics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's huge. That's
It's huge. Yeah, because you're going to a doctor now
Mm-hmm.
to help with your food.
And I'm sure there's certain now they're coming out with all sorts of like glucose monitoring, all sorts of crazy things that'll really help optimize your diet on what works best for you. And also like, what if you have allergies? You know, like allergies will cause stress on your body.
Yeah.
And maybe is that why you can't gain weight? Is that why you're getting nauseous after every meal? Do you have a soy allergy or a wheat allergy or just an allergy in general to
Causing a lot of inflammation.
fruits or whatever?
Yeah.
You just haven't eaten a whole bunch of fruit? No.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Why, Doc? Talking about that, why do you think? I don't know. Why do you think regular family doctors
Yeah.
don't prescribe exercise?
Well, we do quite a bit. And the way I frame it is physical therapy, right?
Okay.
Because that's the closest thing I can get someone to do to go to the gym and kind of create a foundation for them to see like, this is where you are and this is where you can be. And they do see the results. I've had people say like, hey, we've already done 6 weeks of therapy. I want more. I am feeling so much better. I'm not where I want to be, but I know I'm getting improvements. I want it. And I'm like, all right, that's exactly what I'm looking for.
And you word it like that because you think it's like a harsh word, like go exercise, go work out. Do you think people are afraid of those terms?
I do.
Like
I
if
do.
you were like,
There's a
you
lot of
need
pressure.
to move.
There's a lot of pressure.
your body.
Yeah, there's a lot of pressure with those words.
Yeah.
So and then
I can see that.
not only that, logistics. Like again, so what if they can't afford a membership to a gym? Or not
and
just
then
a Florida
the
membership.
public track is closed down for the whole summer.
Exactly. Or even then, like here in Laredo, they get out of work at 5. It's literally hot and unbearable outside between 5 and 8. So if you go to like North Central Park, everyone's getting there at like 8:39.
Yeah.
So it's like if you're trying to get to sleep by a reasonable hour and wake up at 6 to get to your job by 8, it kind of puts you in a bind.
That, and it's a little scary out there at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, there's not a lot of lights back I mean, I run at night, and I run on the street because I feel safer.
Yeah.
Like, I don't feel safe in the park at 9 o'clock
No,
at night.
yeah.
It's too dark.
It's too dark. Yeah.
Yeah.
So like whenever I do, I just go to the dog park. But yeah, it's, I think just the logistics of it. And that's how I frame it with these patients. Like, hey, go there, get your foundation. And then I just say, try to start walking 15 minutes a day.
Yeah.
Like I try to leave it at that, and hopefully that 15 will turn into 30. But you can't tell them walk an hour a day. Like they'll shut down. Mm-hmm. But if you tell them, or break it up into 2 15-minute blocks, just try to make it something that's manageable for them. And hopefully they start doing it. But now it's the heat, and that really plays a huge factor into this because some of these old elderly people just don't have the body that'll, sustain prolonged exposure to the heat.
And we used to have a track team in the mornings, and we'd meet at 6 a.m. and the track used to open up at 5 a.m. every day.
Yeah.
And since COVID, they've shut it down.
Which is the worst thing that, I don't know who shut it down. If it's UISD, that's the worst thing they could have done for
the community. Yeah, 5 a.m. it was packed.
It was always packed.
Tons of people out there
so
exercising.
when I was training, and I would go do like the morning cardio, and I would go to the track, packed. 5:30, packed with people.
A.m. Yeah, and it's the only time because the sun's not out. It's cooler.
And it's still hot. Like
it's still hot, but it's not
so
like
hot. But it's not like it's a heat without the sun, which is much better than a heat with the sun here.
Yeah.
Well, so one of the things I say to that, Doc, is I agree with you 1,000% on that, and same with Lindsay. I mean, I always say, there's a chain of command, right?
Yeah.
And whomever runs that Kruger stadium, you got to look at the leader, then look at what do they do.
Yeah.
So what's important to them?
Yeah. And
is it community health?
Yeah, or maybe they shut it down for safety reasons. I don't know. Maybe they were having break-ins. I don't know what.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I know what I do know is they resurfaced United Field, and they did resurface Alexander, but they finished by March 1st of April. They were done.
Yeah.
Why didn't they start on Kruger then? Instead of when all the kids, they say it's about kids. Now, I don't know if it's the city or UISD, LISD. I don't know who runs that.
Yeah.
But
we do pay taxes on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whoever it is.
Yeah, because we pay UISD taxes.
Yeah.
And Kruger is like literally the only community track that's here. Like I hate running on the street. I hate.
Why?
Yeah, it's dangerous.
It's dangerous.
Again,
here.
it's dangerous.
It's dangerous here. Like I hate it. Like I would love to do it. I would love to bike, but like these these people who cycle, kudos to you. You're brave. I've seen too many crazy cars here, and drivers, and
yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I've had one of my athletes, 18 years old, get hit by a drunk driver, and I mean, he almost died.
That's horrible.
And he was in Plantation on a sidewalk.
That's horrible.
Supposedly, right? I don't know the whole story.
Or even if he was just maybe,
But imagine that he could have been on the track.
Yeah.
Like, and he used to go to that track every morning at 5:30 in the morning. He used to run on that track. Yeah. But it becomes a question as to why. Look, if you finish the project, now I don't know who's in charge there, but if you finish the project, both projects by April, and then now you're resurfacing in the middle of the summer when it's about the kids, right?
Yeah.
Right? It's about kids. It's about community. It's about everyone come together, fight obesity, right?
Mm-hmm.
Let's develop some muscle. I don't think it's an obesity problem. I think it's a muscle problem, just to be honest.
Well, if you don't use it, lose it.
Right. So, and then it becomes a parent problem because these kids that are 10, 15 years old, they're not the ones shopping. It's the parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stay outside on the aisles outside in H-E-B, and that's where you want to shop. It's the simplest way you could do it. Drink a gallon of water, but it's disturbing. Okay, because we took track teams during C19. We took track teams around South Texas. Every public track was open.
Wow. Except here in Laredo.
Bingo.
It's not like we could get into the tracks at Alexander United anyway.
Right,
So
exactly.
The only
They're
one
gonna
we
stop
have
you.
in this area is Kruger.
Yeah.
That's it. Sucks.
Yeah. I mean, they
100%.
really do. And then on top of that, you have college athletes that come home for the summer. They have no place to train. I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
could they go to United High School? Yeah, but if there's
It's also-
practices and
Yeah,
stuff,
it's
you don't
also
want to
like-
intrude.
Yeah, it's also a comfort level. Like
Yeah.
some people just want to work out by themselves. They don't want to
Yeah.
have other people around,
Yeah.
or be asking people for permission to.
I traveled all around the world competing, and I never had a problem when I would fly into a city finding a public track
Yeah.
in Europe, in the U.S., in
Anywhere.
Canada.
But
There
in
was always
Laredo-
something open,
But in
Laredo, Texas, like to find a place to safely exercise outside with lights, it's hard.
Yeah.
Like you can't. It's hard.
Yeah.
So whoever, like, even Doc, even if they charged one more penny on taxes, because you mentioned something, security, you know,
If that's the reason.
if that's
If-
the reason, right?
But apparently Laredo's the safest city in Texas, or like top 2. Have you seen that billboard?
Yeah. Top 3 in the
Top 3 in the
nation.
U.S.
In the U.S.?
Yeah,
US,
in the
yeah.
U.S.
Damn.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. It's super safe here.
Yeah.
It's super safe. It
really is.
I
Like-
mean, if something goes down, somebody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody
Yeah.
that.
Like,
Yeah, that's who it
like,
was.
There's
Yeah.
stuff that happens here, but it's just like any other city.
Yeah.
When you
But
think about it, yeah.
Yeah, and if you're involved with the wrong things,
I need to
it can-
send that list to my family because they think I'm like in,
You're
this
in
danger,
danger.
Yeah, sure.
like
No,
in a
yes,
war
yes.
zone.
This is not a war zone. But if you mess around, you're gonna find out.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right about that. You will find out, dog. But so this whole thing about the Kruger and the kids don't have anywhere to go. They can't. You're able to go halfway around the world. Right now, we can go jump on a jet, fly 10 hours, and we'll find an open track
Oh yeah.
for the community. Easy. I was just I went to the JUCO Nationals, okay? And, excuse me, when I stopped in the city, when I got into the city in which it was happening, I think it was Hobbs, New Mexico, the first place I needed to stop, I needed to go use the restroom. Well, guess what it was?
Track.
A track. Oh, wow. I got down. I saw the restroom signs. I went in. It was open to the public. Imagine that. What a concept, huh?
How about greenways?
Wow. Even so,
So, being that Laredo, Texas is in the top 3 safest cities, and I did hear rumors that they closed the track because people were breaking in. Like, how does that make sense?
Yeah, I think there would be more
I think
break-ins if it's closed. If it's open, then nobody would
Yeah.
break in.
There's
It's-
there's nothing to break into if
Yeah.
you're, true. And we're
And the
in
pro-
one of the safest cities,
Yeah.
so how is it that you can't have a track
I think
available?
there's definitely ulterior motives, though.
So,
Like,
yeah.
I saw an Instagram post where, like obesity is rising in this one city, and it just so happens that they keep on closing public parks for kids. And like, why? Why would you do that if
it's about the kids. So
Yeah.
now you got to look at leadership.
Yeah.
What does leadership do? What does the leadership do? Are they in a program? Are they staying fit?
Not what are they saying? What are they doing?
No, that's exactly. Yeah, you're
Yeah.
100%. 100%. Action.
Yeah.
Like, I know you personally, so I know that you were doing some stuff, physical stuff, and now you're getting stronger now.
Yeah.
So you're doing. You're not just talking. You're doing. All right. So, yeah. So when you speak to your clientele, to your patients, you're not just talking. You're doing with them. You're
I'm trying to.
Yeah, you're hip
I
to
literally
hip with
tried
them.
to. I tried to.
So you can understand their level of pain.
Yeah.
You
Also,
know what
yeah,
that's
and
like.
I also
Yeah.
tell them like, hey, if this was me, you have this issue with your neck. I'm scared of X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
I might not go to a surgeon until I have these symptoms. But if you want to get seen, if you want to get evaluated, go talk to them so that we're all on a plan. But my view, or from my comfort level, I'll wait until I have these symptoms. So I always try to put in a way that if I had this, or maybe I do have that, And
Yeah.
this was my experience when I had this injury and what I did for it.
Very empathetic.
Yeah, I tried to.
Yeah.
You have to. You got to look at it from like their side as
Yeah.
well. You have to.
Exactly. Yeah.
So yeah,
That's
so
good.
it's not like you're at your clinic and
That's
ordering,
awesome.
you know,
I'm
100 tacos
yeah,
for
I'm
the
not-
whole staff every morning.
Yeah,
and then
or-
lunch you're
but-
catering in, you know, what is that buffet here, that, you know, Asian buffet?
Lane's?
Yeah, you know, ordering all
Saku.
that, you know, all that. But it's
But
leadership.
We do get a lot of tacos dropped off.
Yeah, but-
and I do eat them.
But Doc,
But you
Doc,
train hard.
Doc, I'm not going to expose you, but yeah,
High
you're
protein,
also,
high carbs.
I'm very curious about doing some blood work. How it was before Laredo to living here for a few years. There's definitely changed a bit.
you could, but let's put this to the test though, Doc. If you do eat 10 tacos a week, okay, it's
Yeah.
been known that you are rolling for hours and hours on a
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah.
So you're burning right
I'm
through
burning.
it. Yeah.
But also you might be burning through the fat, but putting all that grease and processed food and still not good for you in the long run.
Exactly.
So you're still going to start developing like atherosclerosis and whatever you do absorb. So I try to keep it as clean as possible.
So Dr. Tia says that about the what is that, atherosclerosis, that
Yeah.
everybody gets it.
Yeah, we all get it.
Yeah, that's just to what.
It's arthritis of the arteries.
Yes, and
The
so
best way-
to what point? How? So he talks about it in depth.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, I mean, doctor like yourself, and this is what he's doing now. I mean, this is his deal now, and he talked very eloquently about, you know, him and Dr. Huber.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they talk about a lot about this, and I just want to switch gears real quick, and finish off this topic about the open community tracks.
Oh yeah.
Okay, because Laredo, look, you open up. Well, let's talk about. I'll talk about 2 restaurants that open, that we literally saw here at the lab. One, Dunkin' Donuts opened up. The line was all the way to Shiloh.
That was nuts.
We would sit here and
That was
watch.
so stupid.
Yeah, we see it right here.
They're not even that good.
Okay, exactly. HEBs are pretty good though.
Just go to Shipley's.
Wow.
Oh, it's not, donut's a donut, guys. Don't need it. No offense, you don't need it. Actually, I don't like donuts, so I'll talk shit on donuts all day.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe Dunkin'. I was like, Dunkin' Donuts isn't even that bad.
Yeah, like I'll
You're
eat
like,
it.
oh,
Like
no Dunkin'
but I
Donuts.
never crave it. I don't crave.
No,
but,
it's
like,
because
I'll
you
eat
haven't
it.
had a donut from Wilmington, North Carolina, and Carolina Beach.
Okay, I could probably have some. Like if it's a good donut. So actually,
No,
I take that back. Have you had Voodoo Donuts in San
Oh,
Antonio?
in
Okay,
Austin?
no, this
In
is
Austin?
yeah,
In
they're
well,
pretty
this one was in
good.
San Antonio.
Yeah, they're all
Those
over.
are so
No.
like.
No,
best.
Doc,
I'm a chocolate purist.
Wilmington, North
No,
Carolina.
it's what's the name of the beach? Carolina Beach.
Carolina Beach.
So
Oh
I think
my God.
Wilmington is where the beach meets the mountains. Am I correct?
no,
Is that not?
Beach. Oh well, yeah. Well, North Carolina.
In North Carolina,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
where that's the town
Yeah,
where you
it's
can
just
go
it's
hiking.
just
Yes,
like
yes,
Oh, okay.
yes,
far
yes. That
distance.
is true.
Cool.
Yeah.
Where a lot of movies are filmed too.
Oh damn, that's cool.
Yeah. So there's a place there.
on the beach. Grandma and Grandpa make donuts, and they're
Okay.
only open during the prime season. So
Oh,
like during
yeah.
the winter they close.
Yeah.
But it's homemade donuts with a little glass of milk.
Yeah.
And I don't eat donuts,
But
but when
that-
I'm
that-
there
yeah,
at
that's-
that time,
That sounds like something. It's like when in Rome. Like yeah, I'm
No.
gonna,
Yeah,
I'm
exactly,
definitely
exactly.
gonna try this out.
like no donut compares.
Yeah, like you're
to
not going.
that.
Yeah, it's like you're not going there every day, but you'll be there for like a vacation.
Yeah.
Of
Right.
course, of course.
They've
You gotta
had
treat yourself.
opportunities to
Yeah.
franchise it and everything.
Yeah.
And they don't.
Doc,
and
I
you
know you
pay
don't-
cash. It's $1.
Yeah.
$1?
A
$1.
Good for
donut.
them.
And
Yeah.
there's no. It's only family that works here. No outsiders. Only family.
That's good.
That's it.
It's cool.
That's it. It's only family. And the grandma's there. The grandkids are there.
Well, I'm sure that recipe probably is
Exactly.
Worth a lot
Oh,
of money.
yeah.
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 It's pretty savage. It's really savage place, and the donuts are really insane. So let's finish up this topic about. So it goes back to the leadership of whomever's running that program there, and the leadership of the Kruger Field. They need to open it up. I know we talked to some people. You know, they were trying to get on the track. One of our coaches was like, "Oh yeah, this summer I'm going to do this, do that." I said, "They're going to shut it down in the summer. They're going to shut it down." She's like, "Why?
Yeah.
Why are they going to shut it down?" I said, "Because they're going to resurface it." Well, they have already finished resurfacing the other ones. Well, why aren't they resurfacing it.
Yeah.
Why are they doing it now
Why
in
are
the
they
summer?
doing it now?
They could have started in April.
Yeah.
So, anyways, they're just whatever whomever is in charge,
Open.
finish the project.
Yeah, not just for the athletes, but for the community.
Yeah,
Community.
It's for my parents. It's for
Exactly.
everyone involved.
Your parents, I would say mid-70s or so. You
Yeah.
know, I mean, they need a place to go walk.
Yeah.
A safe place to go walk.
Safe,
place.
safe,
Yeah.
Yeah.
lighted up,
Yeah,
safe
my
place.
old math teacher, Mr. Myers, he was a former boxer. He boxed Muhammad Ali's bro.
Oh,
in the
wow.
Amateurs, yeah.
It's crazy.
He was actually one of the first guys to train Orlando Canizales.
Yeah, okay.
But he every Saturday would go walk Kruger Field, do I don't know, 40 laps or something nuts
Crazy,
like that. He would
yeah.
just be out there in his little sweatsuit
Yeah,
doing the laps as like an 80-year-old man. Just now
Yeah.
we don't have that.
yeah, no.
Doc, I grew up, by Rangel Field,
Okay,
in the 70s, early 70s, 1970s.
so
you
it was
know.
dirt road.
Exactly. And they laugh because they
Yeah,
think it's
well,
funny.
it's true.
Yeah.
My parents moved here in the 80s, and Del Mar was still a dirt road.
Thank you. See? So back
You're
in the
old,
roaring
bro. You're
20s.
old.
Back in the roaring 20s, Doc. That Kruger Field never been closed.
Yeah,
Ever.
until COVID.
C19 hit,
Yeah,
all of a sudden, control.
Control.
Hey, some people get on those power trips, I don't know if it's the school. I don't know if it's the city. But, they need to open it.
Yeah, or it could just be one of those things that once they enact it, it's hard to repeal it. Maybe it has to go through a certain board to repeal whatever it is decision they made during that time or something.
Good point.
Could
Good
be.
point.
It could be.
Yeah, it could be.
It seems like a pretty easy fix, though.
Exactly. Because we ran into some running clubs, and they were like, "Hey, did you hear? Like they closed it. We've been
Yeah.
trying to, And again, we taking these kids to San Antonio, Houston, Austin,
Yeah.
and track in the summer, and every track is open.
Mm-hmm.
Even the high school tracks on Saturday.
Yeah.
So, this is a community track.
Yeah.
The only one we have, like you say.
Yeah.
And they did do some trails in the back and stuff. They're not lit up.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna run those. I mean, look, I'm a pretty big dude, but I mean, I'm not gonna go
Imagine,
run down.
or hitting a little pothole, breaking your ankle,
Yeah.
Yeah, that happens to
That
me
Or a
every
loose
time.
dog.
Every
a
time.
loose dog.
or a loose dog. That's another thing that freaks me out is a loose dog.
Yeah.
too.
What?
There's so many, where I live, just dogs just roaming the hood with collars.
And it's scary when you're walking your dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
shit. My dog will just shut down. Then what? I gotta kick this dog now to get him off or
Yeah.
her off
Yeah.
my dog, and
Yeah.
I don't want to kick a dog. I don't
No,
want
so-
to be in that situation.
Yeah.
And then, so, I mean, to me, it's just about. There's so much obesity in Laredo, Texas, that
There's a lot of sick people.
yes, which the diabetes and et
Yeah.
cetera, et cetera, et cetera, a lot of heart disease.
Yeah, when I was working in the hospital for a little bit, every patient was very, very sick. Were comorbidities that they were living with for years, without a doctor taking care of them, and then now they pretty much they went so long with it that they're in a place of no return from it, and they were just extremely sick.
So
getting
out of that percentage, Doc, the people that were sick, what percentage would you say were obese?
you'd be surprised that some of them just weren't. They'd be 120-pound female, but with uncontrolled diabetes for years, and now she's really bad heart disease and amputated foot on dialysis. So, yeah.
Oh wow, whammy.
So
whammy,
yeah. So
whammy.
usually it's not just one thing. It's not just one
Yeah.
body system that's being affected. It's
Yeah.
multiple systems are being affected.
And I think that's the point that you were saying. It's not just what we see to the eye.
Yeah.
It's what's going on inside.
Inside, yeah. So these
Yeah.
people, they might be 100 pounds. You might think, oh, they look
Healthy.
but skinny isn't healthy sometimes. And then they might just have such bad diabetes, whether it be familial or from diet or whatever the case may be, and it's just undiagnosed for years. And
Yeah. So, moral to that story: make sure you see your doctor
Always.
once you hit the 40.
yeah, but
Every 6 months, huh?
Yeah.
Well, what would you recommend, Doc?
Well, it depends. depends on how healthy you are. So just go see go establish care with a primary care physician
At what age?
when you're born.
Okay. So always checking
Always.
in. Always checking in.
Yeah.
Whether it's 6 months, yearly, every 2 years.
Yearly, every 2 years, do something.
Okay. Yeah. That blood work is
Yeah,
that tells you everything, huh?
correct.
Okay.
Well, it doesn't tell the whole story, but it gives you an idea.
Okay.
Or it might catch something a little bit earlier than it otherwise would be caught.
Yeah, like I hear some people have prostate cancer. Like how? Like go get checked. Like that's like it's curable.
Yeah, well,
If
it's
you caught it
treatable.
early,
It's treatable.
treatable.
It's very, so you don't die from prostate cancer,
Right.
you die with it.
Okay.
So you'll get it treated, but that won't usually is not the cause of death. In medicine now, that's
Right.
not the cause of death.
Okay. Okay. That's crazy.
Well, I'm not saying it can't, but most of the time you die with it.
Wow. Okay. So, Doc, going through all that you've been through here in Laredo, dealing with the kids, your clients, that kind of thing. So, hobbies. What do you do for a hobby?
A lot of things.
Yeah. So earlier you were showing me like it was crazy. You were out in West Texas hunting.
Yeah, I'm trying to do that. So hunting's always been a big passion of mine, but it takes a lot of effort to actually go do it. Like, do I want to go do it all the time? Absolutely, but you need money, you need time, and then also the skill development when you're out hunting. So the long distance shooting that goes in with it, or if you're an archer, if you do archery, the ability to shoot a bow, and then the patience, the accessibility to land, all that stuff comes into play.
So it's in the health too, right? Because
Yeah.
you were doing some hiking.
Yeah.
Yeah, you showed me some pictures. Like,
Yeah.
wow, holy smokes!
Yeah.
Like it's not just get off the truck and we're gonna sit in the blind right here.
No, it's not. It's not like hunting here.
Yeah. No,
Drink-
it's
yeah,
like
drink a 6-pack while waiting for a deer.
yeah, it ain't that kind of hunting, right?
No.
So yeah, that's crazy. So what do you hunt, Doc?
This past time was ram.
Okay.
We were unsuccessful, so I'm going back at it this year.
Okay.
But this year I'm making a lot of changes.
That's awesome. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Any other hobbies? I know that
I'm
you
a
do
big
some
hiker.
investments.
Yeah, I'm also a big hiker. I
Okay,
love
you're-
hiking.
okay.
Love to hike.
Yeah.
Love to fish. Then work out. Yeah, and then especially with investments, that's also something I'm trying to learn as well.
Okay.
Just like with anything, it's an art, trying to make the best decision with the information at hand.
Okay. So how about Bitcoin? You into that?
Well, it's there.
All right, well, hold on. I want to know, like, what's the nicest place you've been hiking at?
Surprisingly, well, I love Colorado.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Beautiful.
Most beautiful place I would have to say was Patagonia.
Oh my God.
Yeah, that was the most awesome.
Insane.
place. Awesome.
Insane.
It's so perfect. It's perfect.
So
so
what time of
perfect.
year did you go?
I went in October, which corresponds to their
Summer.
just beginning of summer. So I think I was right there at the beginning of like end of spring, early summer.
All right.
I was right there at that cutoff.
A lot of rain at that time?
So when we landed in a snowstorm and almost went off the runway.
Sweet.
So it was like we literally landed in Patagonia weather.
Well, you got a little adrenaline
Yeah, and
before
then
you
the
wanted
same
it.
thing on the van that took us into town. Ran off the road because it slid off on some black ice, and the guy just. Luckily, there's no one there. There's no one. Like it's like just him on the road. So he slid off. Was on some grass for a little bit, and then just came back on.
So, Doc, so did you even want to get on the trail after that?
Oh yeah, I was ready. Like I was there for that. Like I was geared towards
You were
doing that
locked
trail.
in.
Locked in.
Locked in.
Never
yeah.
hiked a day in my life when I went there.
Oh, really?
Did zero preparation.
Wow. So how
And
did
then-
that go?
So that's when I had been lifting at the time.
Right, okay.
I was not going out hiking. I just thought it was something cool. And then that's when I was like, all right, I need to start preparing for
Right.
these types of activities.
Yeah. So, yeah, because I've seen videos out there, guys. Were you one of those hitchhikers or no? You had your own van?
No, not hitchhike. I just bought like a little, like a shuttle service.
Okay.
But I have hitchhiked before.
Okay. Where did you hitchhike?
Well, there and also
Okay.
in St. Martin.
Okay.
And
Oh, yeah.
so,
St.
like,
Martin's super.
When
Yeah.
you live in a third world country, hitchhiking is very common.
It's extremely common. Yeah, you're right. I can't.
And it's okay to do. Like,
Yeah.
it's pretty safe. It's been pretty safe for me.
Yeah, you're here. Doc, yeah, St. Martin. We used to pick, the guy I was there working with, so we had a Jeep, the work Jeep. And so we always had an ice chest full of beer. And so hitchhikers jump in the back,
Yeah.
and they just pop open a beer.
Pop
Well,
on
you know, you can drink and drive over there.
Yep.
But oddly enough, the year I was there, I only heard of one accident due to alcohol.
Yeah, because you're only going 20 miles an hour. I'm sure, like, I did see a car flip.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so we're just going down. So on the French side, we're leaving the beach.
Yeah.
And it's pretty windy, kind
Right.
of like through the mountains.
Mhm.
Well, this car just took it way too fast, and it was like a little, almost like a little Kia type of car.
Okay.
Just turned over.
Wow.
People got out, pushed it back up.
Keep going.
Just drove off.
Just kept driving.
Dude,
Nobody
Big
was
deal.
I
hurt.
gotta go on the road with you, man.
Yeah,
you
nobody,
see some
like,
crazy
no-
Still
stuff.
Nobody
works.
was hurt. Like,
Still
it was
works.
just like, you guys good? Yeah,
that
all
won't
right.
happen here.
Doc, that's crazy. Yeah, that's a great story there. I know that shack right there, right before you get into, God, I forget the name of it. It's on the French side. When you go from the French side into the Dutch side, I forget it. I don't know if it's the west side of the island. There's all those shacks where they had, you go down, and they had all these shacks where they're cooking like jerk chicken.
Oh, you're probably thinking about Bay Rouge.
Is that what it was called?
Probably Bay Rouge.
Did they still
Was
have that
you-
bar up on top?
The bar wasn't there. No, so the bar, you got to walk down the stairs
Yes.
to the beach, and you have all the restaurants there.
Okay, so there used to be a bar. The hurricane probably took it out.
I feel so left out. Like we just don't know.
So
what's
so the
going on.
bar there on top, and the tree went right through the bar. And
Maybe you're talking about BB's. Because
Oh.
BB's was also had a tree right in the middle of it.
Okay,
But
well,
this was not. This was on top by. Well, I don't know if the university was built whenever you were there.
right,
Just do-
no,
But it was right there.
the university
It
wasn't.
was
there.
right on the Dutch side. You cross the French side, and it's right there. So
No,
you might be
right.
thinking of BB's,
Yeah.
right by the casino.
Okay, that's crazy. That's crazy. Hey, I think Danny wanted to ask you something. I saw a picture of you, Doc. I saw a picture of
What's
you over there in Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, yeah.
What's up with that? Danny loves them aliens.
Like
Yeah.
aliens, you believe in them?
I mean, yeah, I wanted to ask you if you believe in aliens.
Well, I think the probability is there that there are
Very
aliens.
likely, yeah.
Very likely. Very likely.
You have any conspiracy theories that you believe in, or I don't know, maybe one you find super interesting?
Well, obviously, like the UFOs, all
Okay.
that.
What about the pyramids?
Yeah.
There's
So it's
there's
kind
no
of
way
nuts.
people built that.
Yeah, it's kind of
There's no
nuts.
way.
Well, what's crazy is that the pyramids of Giza, and what's the one in Mexico, Chichen Itza?
Yeah.
So they're the same dimensions on the same line of latitude. Different parts of the world. So that to me is nuts. And then also all these similar like stone structures between all these ancient civilizations, and how were they shared amongst them. So very curious as to how was the intermingling between all these civilizations and all that before
Cool.
everything changed.
Something to do with lights, right? Isn't there some of those lights?
The Marfa lights.
Yeah.
I have no idea about those. I've heard of them, never seen them, but no one. I've looked into them, but
Right.
nobody knows what they're from. They're just some type of phenomenon out there.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
What about AI? You know,
See, I don't know
where
too
we
much about
see-
AI, but I'm sure that's gonna be a huge part of medicine coming up. I'm sure
Seriously.
that's gonna somehow transform in some way. But I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
not-
ask
I don't know anything
because-
about AI.
Because AI seems to be taking jobs from, other careers.
Mm-hmm.
But I was going to ask if for medicine, you see that happening too, but you say it's actually going to
There'll
improve
probably
medicine.
probably some way to improve it. They'll find some way to either improve diagnoses, labs, maybe even follow-up labs. So say they do some basic labs, and then this one lab is positive, and that opens up a whole nother like algorithm of other labs that they have to like order from there. Some
See, I
basic
see.
idea. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
don't
see
know. I
AI
really don't
as
know.
helping, and like they're never gonna replace a doctor.
Yeah.
I mean, you
Yeah.
can't ever
Well,
replace
because
the.
there's judgment. There's you
Yeah.
know.
No, yeah.
Like it's just like an MRI. You might see an MRI. It might show one thing where we look at the patient and get the idea of what they're going through. It's actually something very different. So the picture doesn't always add up.
So you were talking about the AI, the robotic surgeries. Are they doing them here?
They do robotic surgery here on Laredo. is I know they have one, like the Da Vinci machine over at doctors.
Okay, so they are actually doing it
Yeah.
here now.
Yeah.
Okay, that's really
Well,
cool.
what procedures they're doing,
You don't know.
I
Yeah.
don't know.
But they, okay, well, that's really cool that they're that advanced here.
If you go to doctor's hospital, it's there.
Oh, wow,
But so
that's
what is
awesome.
that? Like, there's just no people there.
No,
Obviously
there's somebody
people
controlling. It's
monitoring.
almost like the Da Vinci machine is like you're controlling the.
It's like a video game
kind
kind
of like a video. You're controlling all the
That's
hands of
crazy.
the machine and, but
Yeah.
how what they're doing with it or how it works,
Yeah.
I don't know.
hmm
Not
Wow,
surgeon.
okay. So Doc, we greatly appreciate your time here. We greatly appreciate you coming on, spending time with us, and educating educating us all. Really, thank you so much for your time. Is there anything you'd like to say about, how can we help the youth? And I say the youth because, it's kind of tough to, like you were saying, tell a geriatric patient to go ahead and start working out.
Yeah.
It freaks them out. The youth, how can we, what would you say that you want to go ahead and help them? What would you say to those people what can they do now, today, so they can do preventative, they can prevent from getting hurt, Tommy John, it's usually labrums, elbows, like you said
Yeah,
earlier,
and
the
some-
tennis deal is big right now
Yeah.
in Laredo.
Yeah, and also some of these injuries, like these overuse injuries, that they'll get regardless of an off season or on season. They're sometimes genetically predisposed to it. Maybe their mechanics predisposes them to it, or maybe just the level at which they play. So if you have someone who only plays high school, doesn't go off to college or professional, they're a lot less likely to get labral injury, Tommy John surgery than someone who is pitching at a higher level for a much higher period or a much longer period of time.
Okay, so you believe in off seasons?
I believe in off seasons. I believe in nutrition. I believe in good nutrition, like
Right. High octane.
whole nutrition. Yeah, caloric dense foods, caloric dense diets, or nutritionally dense diets is what I should say. I believe in activity. I believe in rest as well.
Rest. So that's kind of what we talk about here. We teach it, we don't preach it.
Yeah.
And that's what we say is, we need to be able to teach the
Yeah.
youth to eat, sleep,
Yeah.
recover.
Yeah, but also find hobbies, because if they're only playing baseball, then they're probably going to get very burnt out. So they
Yeah.
need hobbies.
I mean, look at Steph Curry. He plays golf all the time.
Yeah, play golf.
Yeah,
Read-
high level athlete.
Yeah,
Still has hobbies.
Still, you got to have hobbies. You got to,
Yeah.
or like Winston Churchill, even though he was a terrible painter, he would start painting. That was his hobby. He would just go, and that's how he would reset his mind.
Yeah.
So find a way to reset. If it's reading a movie or maybe whatever it is.
And interestingly enough, it's not just in sports; it's in life too.
Everything. You got to
Yeah.
have hobbies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you,
What's up?
Doc.
No, hey, thank you.
We appreciate
I
your
appreciate
time.
you.
Thank you for coming on and sharing your thoughts, your knowledge. I'm pretty sure everybody back home watching this is going to take a lot from this podcast, right?
I hope
There's
so.
a lot of things online that are very misleading, misinformation on there. You can see a TikTok talking about how to recover from a torn labrum, right? You're not
Yeah.
going to get the same value information then with this doctor right here.
Yeah, well,
So-
everything's tailored to that to that patient. So if you're going by TikTok or YouTube or whatever the case may be, like
It's funny.
you
It's
gotta
funny,
have.
but it's true.
It's
kinda sad, scary,
Yeah,
but-
it's all
Doc.
about precision medicine. You got to know who the patient is, what you're dealing with, and how to deal with it, and what factors might be aggravating or, preventing them from doing what they need to get done.
That's just,
It's comprehensive.
it's laughable that somebody would actually take expert advice from a TikTok. That's laughable.
But
That-
it happens
Every
Trust
day.
me, everyone.
Every day.
Hey, everyone double checks my opinions with Google searches. So whatever I tell them, I know for a fact they're gonna, or they come to me already knowing
Oh yeah.
what's going on
Oh yeah.
because of Google.
I
or
can
what-
only
yeah,
imagine.
Yeah,
Oh
there's
my
a Google
God.
search involved with every.
Well,
patient
yeah,
visit.
yeah. Well, they do that here too, Doc. They come and they tell us during the assessment, oh, well, I have all this equipment at home. Oh, really? This, a little over $200,000 worth of equipment. Oh, you have it at home? I have all this. Oh, my kid does this, plays all these Under Armour, Texas Under Armour, this, that, and the other. it goes. The parent will go on and tell you what everything the child is doing, and how he trains and he does this and he does that. The father, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I just politely turn around and look at him and say, like, so why are you here? What do you need us for?
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing everything, what do you need us for?
The program.
But they want to get
Also,
off
yeah.
YouTube.
Also, you guys know when to push the brakes or when to turn on the gas.
And that's the difference: volume, consistency, the discipline. You know, the
Yeah.
discipline's going to create the habits, and then, you know, they're going to
Yeah.
come in.
But also, like someone like me, I need volume management. Or if I'm doing too much, I need someone to like say, "Hey,
Yeah,
you gotta stop. You gotta rest. You
Yeah.
gotta switch it up."
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Because
you're
that's
on
it.
the other spectrum.
I'm
You're
on the
like, yeah, you're the guy that's going to roll for 10 hours on a Saturday, you know.
Well, yeah, we're just
Yeah.
like, I'm gonna go work on a garden right now and go lift, and
Yeah.
I've
So,
got too many activities to do right now.
yeah, so
Speaking of which.
speaking of which, yeah, so we're going to go ahead and thank Doc once again. I can sit here.
I
Doc, I can sit here.
I can sit here and chit chat all day.
Yeah,
but
so can I.
I've got a garden bed to go work on.
All right, Doc's just said let's close this up. So, if you got anything from this, and we made you laugh, you know, if you see valuable information here, Doc is here locally. You know, you can go see him if you need anything to do with orthopedics.
Yeah. And my big thing is ultrasound guided surgeries. That's what I'm really trying to focus on.
Okay, I know. Me personally, guys, all our people are sent to you. You know,
I appreciate that.
You know, the ones that need help.
I appreciate that.
You know, to get that primary diagnosis,
Mm-hmm.
and then we go from there. So if you got any value from this, we made you laugh. All we're asking you to do is like, subscribe, share. Comment what you like to see going forward. If you like to have Doc back again and specific topics that you want to see Doc talk about, like Bitcoin.
More about
invest-
aliens.
Aliens.
Gardening
Or
tips.
Gardening
Yeah.
tips.
Ultrasound guided procedures.
Yes.
Maybe not.
Yes.
So go ahead and comment, and then go ahead and put that on there. And we greatly appreciate you listening to us. And
I just want to add a little bit
All
really
right,
quick.
thank you
Yeah.
guys.
At the time that this video comes out, we just reached 1,000 total views on our YouTube channel. So thank you guys for that. And also a little over 100 hours of watch time.
okay, good. That's
so
awesome.
we really
That's
appreciate the
huge.
support. Doc, we have a little gift for you right here.
I appreciate
Yeah.
You
that.
got that little Yeti cup.
All right, I will.
Yeah.
So thank you guys for
Hey,
watching.
thank you guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Doc.
Thank you, Doc.
Appreciate it.